Annie, second victim of Jack the Ripper. The one whose death sparked a frenzy which has lasted through the centuries. A woman whose life has been overshadowed by her death. Her name was Annie Chapman. History remembers her as a victim. But before that, long before that, she was a daughter, a wife, a mother, a woman who dreamed, worked, loved, and endured. This is not the story of her death. It is the story of her life. I was a London girl once, running through streets that smelled of bread and morning rain. Not the gutters people imagine, but places near Hyde Park and Windsor, where families try their best to make a life. I learned to make flowers with my hands, petals from fabric, hope from thread, and I married young, John, a quiet man who held my laughter like it mattered. For a time, life was gentle. But grief came, slow and heavy, and the world we built began to slip away. Still, every morning, I rose. I kept going. I loved as fiercely as I could. Remember me for that, the girl I was, and the life I fought to live. After the deaths that punctured her world, first her father, then 3 of her own children, Annie Chapman carried grief like a permanent weight against her ribs. In the 5, her story unfolds, not as a lurid prelude to an infamous crime, but as a chronicle of a woman worn by loss long before Whitechapel's shadows swallowed her. Alcohol became both my consolation and my corrosion, a numbing draught against sorrow that slowly loosened the ligatures, tying me to stability, marriage, and respectability. Each drink promised stillness, a brief suspension from memory and circumstance, even as it accelerated the unraveling of my life. I did not fall suddenly, but drifted downward, step by aching step, until survival became a day-to-day negotiation. In my final years, I lived at the fragile intersection of trauma, poverty, and dependency, not as an emblem of Victorian vice, but as a reminder that devastation often wears the face of someone simply trying to endure what life has taken away. They painted her as a caricature, a warning, a woman without dignity or history, because that version sold. What they printed wasn't her life, but their prejudice. Not her circumstances, but their assumptions. They replaced the woman she was with a myth they could profit from. And as the city read those papers, Annie, the wife, the mother, the hard worker, vanished beneath a story she had no control over.
We're able to see the kind of existence that women of Chapman's unfortunate class are compelled to live. Probably she did not rise until the shades of night enabled her to ply her hideous trade. And then she seems to have spent her time in passing from liquor shop to liquor shop, with the fitting companions, male and female, of such orgies. She, who had perhaps a happy and innocent girlhood and was once a wife, had to turn out and seek through the sale of her body the price of a bed. A few hours afterwards, she was found a corpse.
Her real voice was never lost, just muffled beneath the world's twisted fascination with the man who killed her. It's time we finally listen to her life, how she lived, and to remember her name. To remember Annie Chapman.